Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. This is where I take all of the questions that you guys have asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. Once again, as I say every week, please remember, if you want me to answer a question, leave it in the comments to this video. It is almost impossible to find comments on the various different videos on this channel. If you find it, if you leave it on this video, I will find it, and if I miss your question, I'm very sorry. Just answer it again. I will get to it. There's some amazing questions this week, so I'm going to get into it. But remember, you got any questions, please leave them in the comments below. But without further ado, let's have a look at the first question. Okay, so the first question is from Magic Elliot. How you doing, buddy? And Magic Elliot says, "Hi Craig, in a lot of your videos you ask the spectators if they wish to change their mind or they want to change their mind. In tricks like Ed Marlowe's open prediction, do you not think this telegraphs to a spectator that it would work wherever they stop? I think it's vital that the spectator knows that once they've committed that they can't change their mind." Really, it's kind of down to the individual performer, to be honest. This is kind of more of a presentational question. I understand where you're coming from, and if that works for you, then that's absolutely fine. With the Ed Marlowe trick in particular, and if you haven't seen that, guys, go on the Magic Live playlist. I think I put it up about a week or two ago. I also performed it on the Magic Stuff video, which is 3 tricks with a ribbon spread holdout that you've never seen before. In that trick, the whole presentation is about free will versus versus predetermined outcomes. And the whole hook line is, do you believe you've got free will, or do you think things are going to be, do you think that everything is predetermined and whatever choices you make, you're not going to be able to change the outcome? And then the whole presentation is based on, you can change your mind. You can stop whenever you want to. I'm telling you right now, the card you will stop on is the 2 of Hearts. It's completely up to you where you stop. And then when they do stop, I say, now, would you like to carry on? If you want to carry on, that's fine. I'm telling you right now, I know exactly what you're going to do. However much you try, this is the outcome you're going to get, I guarantee it. And I actually like it if they go, no, I'm going to go on. Because then they turn over the next card and you go, well, I'm glad you went on. That's not the 2 of Hearts. Imagine what would have happened. And then later on, they'll say to me, well, what would have happened if I'd stopped where I originally did? And I say, well, you know, you didn't. And that's the whole point. It's the same when you're doing the classic digital force bag routine and you're getting somebody to think of a celebrity, you're getting somebody to think of a grocery item, you've predicted it. And in my case, I predict it by searching on their phone for an image. And the image, you know, for example, is Tom Cruise drinking a Coke. When I ask them for the number, I say, now, are you sure you want that number? I know what's going to happen. At some point in the next 24 hours, you're going to be sitting there and you're going to think to yourself, what would have happened if I changed my mind? So if you want to change your mind, now is the chance. And I love it when they change their mind. Because when they do, they always say to me afterwards, it was Tom Cruise drinking Coke, but if I'd changed my, and I always tell them to look at what the number was that they did say. You know, it would have been dishwashing powder. Would it have been Tom Cruise holding your dishwasher or something? And I just say to them, you'll never know. And it's that sort of thing that after I've left, it provokes discussion amongst the people I've performed for. So really, I think it's kind of down to the individual personality. If you want to present it that, you know, you've got to make a decision and you're locking that in, and that works for your character and how you present your magic, brilliant. For me, I like to give people the chance to change their mind every time. You know, pick a card. Do you want that card? Do you want to change your mind? Hey, do you want, you know, I've just spent a couple of days filming at Alakazam, and there's a project that's coming out that's kind of part of their Mentalism, not Mentalism, it's part of their wallet trick series, and it's very kind of mentalism-y based. And a lot of the time, I've just done live performances for it, and a lot of the time I'm saying to people, do you want to change your mind? Do you want to do this one more time? This is all about you making all of the choices. For me as a character, and for me as a person who presents my magic, that's the way that I like to do it. That's the way that works for me. And that's the great thing about magic. Just because that works for me, it might not work for you. So, you know, your question here, your question here about, do I think that You know, do I think that it's an issue? No, I don't think it's an issue. But if you think it's an issue, do it however you want to. For me, that's the way that I like to do it. But I'd like to know what everyone else thinks. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so the next question is by Rob Magic 101. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for the Beyond Stebbins project and Visible. They are incredible. You are more than welcome. Thank you very much for getting them and supporting me. I have a question. I am tempted to do the close-up magic competition at my local society next year. Do you have any advice on what makes a good competition act and what the pitfalls and traps should you avoid? This could be a video on its own, and maybe at some point I will do a video on this. Briefly, my few big pieces of advice would firstly do something that you are absolutely used to doing. Something that you've done a million times in the real world. You know, as Greg Wilson would call it, your 1,000 timer. Don't try and do something that you've never done before, or something that you've put together specifically for the competition. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get to the competition and something could potentially go wrong. And if it's not something, the thing is, if you do a route, so for example, the last competition I won, I did my monster coin routine, I did card in the box and my card in the box routine, and I think I finished with Chop Cup or something. 3 routines that I've done in the real world all of the time, a million times. I know if things go wrong with any of those routines, I know I can fix them. Because I've been in every situation, I know what the problems are going to be, and I know how I can fix them. If you try and put something new together, and do this new thing specifically, you're going to really struggle because it's something that you've never done before. You haven't got the timing or the pattern or the presentation worked out. You know, I've got a friend who will remain nameless that auditioned for the Magic Circle, and the first time they auditioned, they didn't get through because they tried to do stuff that they'd never really done before. And so when there were a few problems, they had issues and they didn't know how to fix it. The second time, they went in and just did the stuff that they do all the time, and they get through no problem because they're amazing. The point I'm trying to make is it works the same with competitions. You want to do stuff that you've worked in, and you want to plan for the competition. So if you are going to put something new together and you think that, hey, I'm going to put this act together, make sure you've rehearsed it. Make sure you've got it down. Make sure it's been worked in. So if your competition that you want to enter is in 6 months' time, you're saying next year, let's say it's 6 months' time, and you want to put something new together, you need to work that in over the next 6 months. You want to go and perform it in as many places as you can. So that's the first thing. Do stuff that you're used to doing. The second thing is practice, practice, practice. Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. Don't just sit in your living room practicing. Don't just sit in your dining room practicing. Go out and perform it to real people. You know, I've spoken to Mark Oberon about this in the past, and when he was preparing to enter FISM, he would invite friends around his house, 3 or 4 friends at a time, and he would just perform his entire act to them, and then he'd ask for honest feedback, and he'd do it again and do it again and do it again. So that's another piece of advice. I remember speaking to Chris Priest many years ago, and if you don't know Chris Priest, incredible magician, you should check out his DVD Protons. It is one of the best sponge ball routines you'll ever see. Anyway, Chris gave me a great piece of advice before I entered the IBM Close-Up competition. And he said, don't watch any of the other acts. Because if you're watching the other acts before you go on and they're incredible, it's just going to kind of get you down a little bit, and it's going to give you some self-doubt. So don't do that. You know, kind of go out into a separate area and come out and do your thing when you're called to do it. Don't try and be too clever with the act. I mean, obviously you want to, you know, it needs to be, you can't just go out and do the 3-coin trick for 15 minutes, but don't try and like do something absolutely ridiculous, like rigging up the entire room or something. Just focus on what it is that you're good at. That kind of comes back to point number 1, but it's a very important point. Yeah, I mean, those are the main points that I'd recommend to you. And maybe spend some time, you know, with people that have won competitions. You know, reach out to people in your society that have won competitions and ask for their advice. You know, show them the act and ask them what they think. All of this stuff would be really useful. And I think the most important thing, if you have to boil it down to everything, is be prepared. Don't just like kind of half-arse this and go into it. And ask yourself why you're entering this competition. Is it because you're wanting to win a competition? Why are you wanting to win a competition? Will it help with your career? Or are you wanting notoriety amongst magicians? Or is it you're just wanting to go out there and challenge yourself? Understand why you're entering this competition. And I suppose the most important thing is have fun. Because if you have fun, then the audience will have fun as well. Oh, and one other point. Try to find out how the competition is judged, because different competitions are judged in different ways. Some people put a big emphasis on entertainment value. Other competitions don't put an emphasis on entertainment value, and all the emphasis is on magical content. Some competitions look at technique. Other competitions, they talk about appearance. Now, I'm not the sort of guy that very often wears a suit and tie. But if I was entering a competition and they gave you 10 points for presentation, I would wear a suit and tie. Because why would I not want to wear a suit and tie when you get 10 points for appearance? I would go out there suited and booted and try to look as best as I can, because that is, if I don't do that, I've lost 10 points immediately. I'm already starting massively behind everyone else. But if you look at the marking system, you'll know what you need to focus on. And any competition should be able to tell you the marking system and how many judges are there and who are the judges. Find out the judges before you do the competition. Is there a lay judge? Are they just magical judges? Some competitions just have magical judges. Other competitions have lay judges as well. Understand that. And, you know, if you can find out the judges beforehand, then that's even better. You know, if you can find out, you know, that John Allen is one of the judges, for example, well, you know what the type of magic that John Allen likes. So you can kind of be a little bit sneaky in regards to that as well, and just make sure that your act is tailored to the judges that are watching you. So there's all these factors, but I think most importantly, like I said, Rob, have fun. Right, so the next question is by Professor Dan. Hey, buddy. Hi, Craig. Thanks for answering my previous question. You're more than welcome. My next question is about routines that rely on electronics to work, not phone apps. I would love to do a certain colouring routine. I think I know what you're talking about. But from past experiences, I dare rely on them. I could use a different method to accomplish the same effect. But what are your thoughts on this? Yay or nay to using remotes for a magic act? Well, I mean, I use a lot of electronic equipment in my act, mainly on stage, but also in close-up. So, you know, I've talked about this in my everyday carry video. I always have a Pro Mystic MD Mini with me on my keychain, which is the, you know, it's a like a little Rubik's Cube, and I can tell immediately what color they're thinking of. I also use I use the dice by Murphy's, both mental die and mental dice, an awful lot, and that's just close up. There's a lot of stuff that I do on stage that uses electronics as well. So, you know, later on today, I'm doing a review show special on the new Joel Miranda gimmick, which again is electronic. So I've got no problem using electronics. I think you just need to be aware. You need to think. And I think that the use of electronics can really, really clean up a routine and allow presentational opportunities that you could not possibly achieve without the use of electronics. There's no way that you can do something as clean as the mental dice routine, for example, without using mental dice. And people have tried. Wayne Dobson has brought out routines with dice that use regular dice, and it's designed to kind of replicate the mental dice routine. And it's a great routine, but it's never going to replicate mental dice. A lot of the time when electronics are used, they're used specifically because they achieve something that you can't do through other methods. Look at something like, you know, you're talking about a colouring routine, you're probably talking about colour match or something like that. Colour match is something that I've done in my show for years. I've closed my show for many years with colour match. Ryland does colour match in his show. I love colour match. So, but you know what? It's gone wrong on me a couple of times. It's gone wrong on Ryland once. It's gone wrong with me about 4 or 5 times. But it's not an issue because I knew ahead of time, I'd already kind of thought to myself, if this goes wrong and there is a problem here, how am I going to fix it? And I think that's something that's really important to do to every trick. When you start performing a trick, especially on stage, think about how it can go wrong and what you're going to do to fix it if it does go wrong. Because when that actually happens in front of a live audience, you can get very stressed. And if you haven't thought about what to do about it, you can get very, very stressed, and stressed people never make good decisions. Well, the way to actually start to making a good decision is by figuring out what you're going to do about this problem beforehand, because then you're not going to be stressed. Oh my gosh, this has happened. I've thought about this before. I'm going to do this. So although, you know, I say it's gone wrong about 5 times, I must have performed that trick between the Illusion show and performing on cabaret shows and this and that and the other. Probably, I'm not exaggerating, about 1,000 times. And, you know, 5 times it's gone not the way I wanted it to go. And I had a solution each time. So it wasn't a problem. And I think that's the key there. Think about, electronics really clean things up, but think about what you're going to do if it goes wrong. And it's that old adage, isn't it? The audience don't really know what's going to happen. So if they don't know what's going to happen, you can change the routine on the fly and you can go in a completely different direction. The colour match routine, actually, me and Steve Della use it in a very different way in our Phantasmagoria show. And again, we've got multiple different outs. Steve especially is I don't want to say a worrywart, because that's not the right thing. He is so meticulous. He doesn't leave anything to chance. He wants to rehearse everything over and over again until it is absolutely flawless. You know, and he uses electronics an awful lot. But the reason he gets away with it is because he's, you know, just rehearsed everything to the nth degree. He's thought his act through. If this happens, I'm going to do this. If this happens, I'm going to do that. And I think that's what you need to do. So yeah, electronics are great. You know, take advantage of this modern technology that wasn't around all these years ago, but make sure that you've got an out if anything like that goes wrong. So, the next question is by Jay Lebowitz. Hey Jay, great post, thanks very much. Related to one of the questions, I was wondering if you could point out the best go-to impromptu magic trick that can be done with simple everyday objects or commercial effects which you can carry on your person for when somebody inevitably asks you, hey, you're a magician, can you show me a trick? Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of stuff you can do, dude. Have a look at my video. I did a video a little while ago, 12 tricks that you should include in your everyday carry. And this is stuff that you can keep in your wallet or your pocket or your keychain that you can do anytime, anywhere. I'm actually doing another everyday carry video. I'm doing a follow-up because there's a ton of other stuff. There's millions of routines that you can do. And there's millions of impromptu routines. I'm also doing a video at the moment on the best impromptu routines using borrowed stuff that if you've got nothing with you at all, you can do. And over the years, there's lots of different things that I've done. I mean, I do a lot of coin magic. So it's great to say, hey, has anybody got some coins? What you got? You got 50p? Great. Anyone else got 50p? Let's do this. And I can literally do like a 15-minute set with some borrowed coins, but you know, which is another reason to get into coin magic. But you use, you know, if you're doing this completely impromptu, you use what you've got going on around you in the environment you're in. So for example, if I'm somewhere where they've got sugar cubes, I'm going to do something like chink-a-chink if I want to do something. I'm just going to grab some sugar cubes and do that. Greg Wilson and his Coffee House Conjuring booklet was great because he put an entire thing together of routines that you can do in a place like Starbucks or Costa Coffee or a coffee shop that, although they're not, basically the routines are designed so that you can go over and get your coffee, you know, on the serving station where you've got the stirrers and everything. You can nip over there and you can set a trick up in like literally 10 seconds and come back to the table that you're sitting down with your friend, and you can show them something amazing, and it's all different routines in there. He's got this incredible one where he gets a Starbucks bag, one of those paper bags, and he gets one of the coffee stirrers, drops it in, they can feel it in here, he gets them to snap it several times, and then when he opens the bag, he tips it out and it's restored. And everything's examinable. So that's an example of stuff that you can do. Like I say, depending on your environment, you can go in different ways. So David Penn has got an absolutely, on the DVD that we did in Vegas, Craig and Dave Hit the Road, he's got a couple of routines with sort of sugar packets and Coke bottles and beer bottles that you can literally do impromptu anytime, anywhere. He's got this incredible thing with a straw and a bottle that fooled me the entire time I was over in Las Vegas. That is completely impromptu if you're in a bar type environment. So yeah, there's a ton of stuff. I'm doing a video on it. In terms of stuff you can carry around with you, go look at the video on everyday carry. I will be doing another one. And you know what, guys? If anybody's listening to this bit, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of something that's coming out in 2022. I'm working with Penguin Magic at the moment to do a brand new version of Keymaster, because the original Keymaster, the one I was involved with, my original creation, was bought out like 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago, if not longer. And I've updated the handling since then. I've updated the routine since then. So this new Keymaster is going to come with new gimmicks, brand new routines. And rather than doing just the original Keymaster routine, which was like a 2 or 3 minute routine, it's going to come with like 7, 8, 9 routines, and you can literally just carry your keys around with you. You can take your keys off and you can do like a 15, 20 minute act using just your keys on your keychain. And as I say, there's new gimmicks, there's new routines, there's stuff with borrowed bills, there's stuff with playing cards, there's stuff with bottles. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. Business cards, and then lots of stuff with keys that you just won't have seen before, including the best ring and stringer routine using a key that you have ever seen. So that's coming out early next year. I'm super excited about that. So, you know, if you want my favorite go-to impromptu looking routine is Keymaster. And when I bought out the original Keymaster, the keys were supplied as key blanks, because the whole concept behind it is you could go into a key cutting place, take this key into the key cutting place, cut it to your house key, and then you have the gimmick on you. You use the gimmicks as your house key, so you're always going to have the gimmicks with you. And then, you know, we kind of got away from that, but I've insisted with Penguin that we go back to that. So new gimmicks, new routines, new handlings coming early in 2022. So there you go. You heard it here first on Magic TV. That is my favourite sort of impromptu looking routine. I love Keymaster. Right, so the next question is by Warren Treadaway. How you doing, Warren? Hope you're well, man. Great show as always. Thank you very much. My question is, what are the top 5 books you think every close-up magician should own? Dude, my gosh, how can you do that for me? Okay, here you go. Nice and easy. Card College, volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Card College Light. Stand-up Card College, job done. That's all you need. But that's probably cheating. I would say Card College. You know what? A lot of people, I see people recommending books. And even today, I see a lot of people going, well, you should get the Royal Road to Card Magic. And you should get Bobo's Modern Coin Magic. And you should get the Tarbell series. And don't get me wrong, those books and those series of books are absolutely fantastic. But they are very, very old now. They have been around a very long time, and they are not easy to read. And I think a lot of people, they get put off reading books, and they get put off, they go towards downloads and things like that because they don't think that they can learn from books. I think a lot of the times because they've been recommended one of these old books that are very difficult to understand, and so they've just thought, well, it's easier for me to get a download. If they started off with a book that was a little bit more accessible and a little bit easier to follow, and they built up their knowledge base, I think that then if they went back to Bobo's or Royal Road, they'd get more out of it. So I don't necessarily think that at least initially in a magician's career, they should go for Bobo's or Tarbell or something like that. Off the top of my head, definitely, we'll say Card College as a group. That's a given. I also think Mark Wilson's Complete Course in Magic, I think, is just an incredible book. And I think a lot of people overlook it because they think it's for beginners. But if you think what's in there, there's so many wonderful close-up routines. You can learn the basics of stage magic. I remember building illusions from that book. I think that book is incredible. I think it's something that it's a book that everybody should own, 100%. What else is there? 52 Memories by Jack Parker, which was brought out by Andy Gladwin many, many years ago. And I heard a rumour that he's re-bringing that out, or he's doing 52 more memories or something like that. But that is an amazing book, absolutely amazing book. I would also say Destroyers and Moments, which are the two Troy Huser books. Absolutely incredible, unbelievable material in there, regardless of skill level. I think that they're great, and you should absolutely get those. And also the magic in there is accessible. So you've got that. I think Expert Coin Magic by David Roth should be in there as well. Expert Coin Magic, Expert Coin Magic by David Roth, but I'm going to throw another one into the mix as well. I hope you don't mind. Richard's Almanac by Richard Kaufman, or the Magical Arts Journal by Michael Amar, or the Apocalypse bound books by Harry Lorraine, or Art of Astonishment by Paul Harris. All of these collection of hundreds of routines are great because you can just go into them and there's so much stuff and you can literally lose yourself in there. Look, there's a million other books. I haven't even touched on some of my favorite books, which are, Mike Powers is an incredible author. Tesseract, his latest book, is brilliant. There's so many great books. Michael Kaminska's Miracle Material. But if you wanted the five, I'd go for those five. But definitely Richard's Almanac. That made a big influence on me. You see a lot of Jay Sankey's early work. It was his first published work. You see a lot of David Roth stuff. You see some incredible material in there. I'd go with those books, but there's millions more. But I'd avoid some of the really older books until you've got kind of more of a knowledge base, because I think jumping straight into that sort of level will maybe put you off reading and push you more towards downloads, and then you're missing out on a whole bunch of really cool magic. So the next question is by Danny Marco. Hey Danny, great question as always. Great video as always, Craig. Thank you, Danny. My question, have you thought about making a Facebook group where we can comment, post videos or ideas and interact with you? It might be a great resource. Yeah, you know what? I'm thinking about it. That was never my intention, because I never thought Magic TV would blow up the way it has. Now, I don't know which way to go with this, and I'd like your advice, guys, because I'm kind of in a bit of a quandary. Should I have, because here's the thing, I know that I have only got the time and effort to, if I did a Facebook group, I would want to be visible in there. What I don't like is when somebody sets up a Facebook group and the person who set it up is never in there. I would want to be visible in there, answering questions, dealing with comments, yada, yada, yada. So here's the thing. I don't know whether I should set up a Magic TV Facebook group or a Netrix Facebook group. Because here's the thing, Netrix has, every single course has its own discussion forum within the actual course. So if you click on and learn The Invisible Triumph by John Carey, for example, which is an incredible trick, and we've just done the trailer for it. There's a discussion forum, so anyone who watches and learns that trick can discuss. And when you go and watch it for the first time, you see the discussion there. So Netrix has its own discussion forum for each individual trick. But I think there's going to be a lot more, especially with the stuff that we've got in there, marketing and technique and this and that and the other. There's going to be a lot more that people want to talk about. So do I do one for Netrix, and it's just for the subscribers to Netrix, and kind of keep it really exclusive for people that are part of the Netrix platform? And it's another bonus, you sign up for Netrix and you get all of this and this and this and this and this and this, but you also get access to this private discussion forum, which could then be private, and you only get access to it if you are a subscriber to Netrix. So it's not like anyone can drop in there. Or do I do an open Facebook group for everybody on Magic TV? And you could say, do both. And I get that, but I don't think I have the time and effort. I don't think I have the time to be visible in one or the other. And I don't want to kind of spread myself too thin. I'm the sort of person that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. It's why it's so vitally important for me to stick to the schedule. Like I've been so busy this week. Like I'm filming this at midnight. Is it midnight? It's midnight. I'm filming this at midnight on Thursday. I've been at Alakazam filming in Kent, which is, if you're not in the UK, 5 hours away from me. I've been in Kent since Tuesday. I left at like 7 o'clock Tuesday morning. I was in Kent all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday. I was there Thursday morning. This morning I was in Kent. Came back, had to jump on a call with some of the guys from Murphy's. That took hours. And now I'm filming this, and then I'm going to go into my office to edit it, because tomorrow I'm in my office all day dealing with stuff with Non-Stop Kids. So it's absolutely crazy for me at the moment. And I just know that in terms of timescale, So yeah, you tell me. What do you think? I don't want to be in a situation where I'm not delivering on what I promise. So do you think it should be a discussion forum just for Netrix, and it's an extra bonus for people to sign up for Netrix, or for Magic TV? Let me know in the comments. So the next question is by Willie Chen, and Willie says, "Hey Craig, this is my first time posting a question." Well, thank you very much for being on Magic TV. First of all, I want to say I've been enjoying the channel since the start of the pandemic. You've been an inspiration. Cheers, dude. Thank you. Seriously. My question for you is, do you have any advice on anybody that wants to be a magician but has got a negative reception from other people, especially from their own family? What do you do if your own family or anybody are unsupportive of your dreams of wanting to do magic? And has this ever happened to you, Craig? Have you ever had a family or anybody discouraged you from being a magician? It's a very good question, Willie, and the answer is yes. So my dad did not want me to be a magician. He just didn't want me to be a magician. I had a degree from university, and he expected me to use my degree. And I did, for many, many years, work in sales and marketing. And I actually set up my own sales and marketing company, which was called Magic Force Promotions Limited, and it was based in Leeds. And I had my own sort of sales and marketing company for many, many years. And then one day I got sick, literally and figuratively. Like I turned yellow, like jaundice. And I was just working my ass off, and I turned absolutely jaundice, and I could barely stand up. And I went, and this had been going on for a couple of weeks, and I've been powering through it. And I went to the doctors, and my gallbladder had ruptured. So they had to deal with it there and then. So they couldn't do keyhole surgery. They had to do emergency surgery. And I was laid up for like 6 months. And I had a house in Leeds. I also had a house in the Midlands that I rented out. And I had a house up in Leeds. And I moved back to the Midlands, and I moved into my mum and dad's house because I just couldn't do anything, and I kind of needed somebody basically to look after me for a little while. And I sold the business I wasn't there, so I sold the business, and then stayed down in the Midlands. And I eventually, after a little while, moved out of my mum and dad's house back into the house that I rented. I took it back over and stopped renting it, and that's when I said, I'm gonna be a professional magician. And I started working market stalls, and I then did a bit of sales and marketing. I worked for a company called Empower, but I very, very quickly told them to shove their job up their ass. It's a long story that I'll get into one day. And I started working market stalls. My dad hated that, absolutely hated it, because he said, you're wasting your time. You know, you've got a degree. You know, you had your own sales and marketing company. You could walk into any sales and marketing company and get a job, and there you are, standing out on market stalls for making almost no money. You know, you're an idiot. And I was like, well, it's because I want to become a professional magician, and this is a way of making money, and this is going to work, Dad. And he's like, no, you're stopping it right now. And, you know, even though I was a grown man, he was trying to get me to stop. And I was like, no. And you got to understand, I've got a great relationship with my dad. When he passed away, I was absolutely mortally wounded. But both my mom and my dad absolutely hated the fact that I was going and working market stalls. And I thought, but then I stopped doing the market stalls and I started working restaurants and gigs, and I became very, very busy. I was working like multiple restaurants every single day. And I thought he'd say, oh, well, brilliant. Nope. Every day he would ring me up saying, go and get a proper job. You're embarrassing me. And I have a half brother. And I remember me and Sarah, and it was the first year that Sarah had met my parents. Me and Sarah were invited around to my mum and dad's at Christmas. And my half brother was there. And little did I know, but my mum and dad had told my brother to talk some sense into me. So he took me into another room and literally spent 2 hours telling me how I'm wasting my life, and how an embarrassment to my parents, and how an embarrassment to him, and how Sarah, because we'd only just got together a few months before, how Sarah was going to leave me because you know, she wouldn't be wanting to go and be with somebody who is a loser, and I seem to be the only person who can see that I'm a loser. And yeah, right up until the day that my dad passed away, he thought I was wasting my time. And I'll never forget, I was going to a big illusion show. I'd started doing illusion shows, and I was going to a big illusion show, and this was for a big national talent show. And I'd reached the final with the rest of Slightly Unusual. I'd reached the final, and this is the final. And we actually went to this thing, and we won the whole thing, and it was like super exciting. But I had the phone call that my dad had passed away on the way to the gig. And I sent Russell and Anna, who I did Slightly Unusual with back then, to go and set up the show. I went back to the house, met Sarah there. She was pregnant with Ryland at the time, sorted my dad's body, dealt with all that because my mum was just completely out of it. And I went back and we won the thing. And I wish my dad had seen that, because that was the start. That's kind of, if I look back, that was one of the things that really kind of catapulted the career, of my career, and really kind of pushed me in the right direction. And yeah, it was kind of upsetting that my dad and my brother and my family, every single family member, nobody supported me becoming a magician. And my family passed away, and I don't speak to my brother now, really. I haven't spoken to him for years, but my mum and dad passed away before they saw what I was actually able to achieve with Non-Stop Kids and Slightly Unusual, and just my career as a whole. But here's the thing. Every single time I was told I was an embarrassment. Every single time I was told I was a failure. Every single time I was told that I should get a proper job. Every single time I was told that I'm wasting my life. Every single time I was told that I would never amount to anything and that I've thrown away my life. Every single time, that spurred me on. That spurred me on because I wanted to prove them wrong. I wanted to prove that I could be successful doing what I enjoyed. Because here's the thing, my dad hated his job. He hated what he did. He absolutely hated it. But he had no choice but to do that job because there was nothing else really he could do. He hated it. He hated it with a passion. He wanted to walk away so many times. He loved what he did earlier on in his life. He was a copper for 30 years. But after he left the police, he hated it. I didn't want to be in that position. I didn't want to be in a position where I hated my job and I was just there existing. I wanted to do something that I absolutely loved. And I wanted to do it to a successful level that it paid my bills and provided a roof over my head. And every single time there was a setback, every single time there was an issue, every single time that something went wrong, I thought to myself, God, can you imagine walking into my mom and dad's house and going, you know what, you're right. I'm going to go and start applying for sales and marketing jobs. And that's what spurred me on. That and one other thing, having Sarah by my side, because she was so supportive and continues to be so supportive every single step of the way. When people told me I couldn't do it, she told me to believe in myself. When people told me that you can't be a professional magician, she told me not to listen to them. When people told me that I would never amount to anything, she told me that she loved me. So I think it's two things. Willie. I think the first thing is you can't choose your family. You have them. But you can choose the person that you spend the rest of your life with. So pick someone who's going to support your dreams and build you up and not break you down. And the second thing that I would say is if you want something bad enough and you really want it, then just go out and do it. And it's not going to be easy, and there's going to be highs and there's going to be lows, and there's going to be ebbs and there's going to be flows, and there's going to be mountains and there's going to be valleys. But, you know, in the graph of my life, you know, it's like this, but if you plotted a line through it, it's like that. If you believe in yourself and you have a clear mental image of where you want to be, then you can be successful in however you want to be. Whatever your definition of success is, you can achieve that. But it's not going to be easy, and there's going to be people that are telling you the entire way that you can't do it. But if you want it badly enough, and you really want it badly, and you can taste it every single day, make it happen. Hope that helps. Okay, so the next question is from Charm Yu Sheng. How you doing, Charm? A question: why didn't you continue Nothing But the Truth videos? Also, why didn't you use that channel? Why don't you use that channel anymore? Well, here's the thing, dude. That was a big, fat marketing mistake. So you obviously, I did the Wizard product review for a while. I left the Wizard product review, and I'd been out of magic for a while. And I thought, hey, I'll do some reviews. So I set up a YouTube channel for Craig Petty for myself. And I started doing reviews, and it was just me being angry because that's where I was at the time. That was my kind of where I was in life. I was just really pissed off with everybody and everything. I was pissed off with the magic community. I was pissed off with magic. I was pissed off with magic. I was just pissed off. So, and those videos reflect that. And it wasn't enjoyable. Doing magic TV is enjoyable. I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy giving back, and I enjoy seeing the comments of people saying that they've got a lot out of this channel. That's why I do it. The Nothing But the Truth, they weren't about that at all. They were about me being angry and ripping into products. That's what that was all about. I didn't even have an end goal with it. And when I realized that I was just being stupid and I was wasting my time doing that, I stopped the whole thing. I need to delete them, to be honest, or delete the channel, because they don't serve any purpose, to be perfectly honest. My website, I have a website, craig-petty.com, and it was meant to be rebranded before the pandemic, and then obviously I got a little bit distracted. We're about to launch my new website, which has been, for the last 6 months, been put together. We've got new show reels, we've got new assets, and it's promoting me as a motivational speaker and me as a magician, and that channel will be the YouTube channel for that for that rebrand. So you'll only see magic videos on there. You'll only see me performance videos, not magic TV videos, but like performance videos that clients will see. You'll see videos of me speaking at events. You'll see show reels, and that's it. That's what that's going to be used for. So yeah, I mean, why did I stop doing them? It's because I started them for the wrong reason, and when I realized that, I stopped, and I don't use the channel anymore because it doesn't fit with what I'm doing, although it is going to be used for my rebranded website. I hope that answers the question. Okay, Johnny Coates is the next person, and he says, hi Craig, I want to buy a flipper coin. Do you recommend gravity or standard? What do you use? I use a gravity flipper. For any of the routines that I've published, I would use a gravity flipper. A gravity flipper will just drop down and lay flat. And that's what you need for all of my routines. Now, if you, I just did an academy for Alakazam, a Coin Magic Academy. I did a beginner one ages ago. I've just done the intermediate one and I'm now planning the advanced one. And in the intermediate one, I spent a bit of time talking about the flipper coin. I taught 2 of my flipper coin routines, and I also went into how a gravity flipper works, what it does, why you should use a gravity flipper, the advantages of a gravity flipper over any other gimmick. So if you want to find out more about gravity flippers, and you want to find out more about flippers in general, and you want to find out more about, you want to learn a couple of the routines that I do with flipper coins, head over to Alakazam. It's a digital product, so anywhere in the world, download the intermediate Coin Magic Academy, and you can watch that stuff immediately. Right, so the next question is Gary Parsons, and Gary says, hey Craig, any chance of a review on Triad coins regarding quality and value for money? Absolutely. I'm doing a Vanishing Ink review show special that will probably find its way on there, so I'm planning that at the moment. Triad coins is good. I recommend it to everybody. If you've got the money, I'd go for a 3CM or a triple threat or something like that. But there's nothing wrong with the Triad coins. It's a nice, cheaper alternative. I'll get into it more in the Vanishing Ink review show special, but yes, my friend, I will absolutely review that for you. So the next question is by Colin Ryder, and Colin says, hey Craig, I'm a bottle of Rioja down. Great. I'm a granddad who started doing magic for my grandchildren. Have you got any advice and routines you could suggest? I enjoy you and your son's YouTube work. Well, you know what? I mean, you're a granddad. You're meant to pull coins from behind kids' ears, right? And do the 21 card trick. That's the job. In all seriousness, I suppose it really just depends on your grandchildren's ages, to be honest, Colin. Can you leave a comment and let me know how old they are? Because really, it makes no difference if they're your grandchildren or if they're any other children. You know, they're going to enjoy the same magic that they would see somebody else do. And it very much depends on their age. You know, if your grandkids are teenagers, a card magic, dynamo style stuff would work, or, routines that are kind of a little bit more visual or a little bit more, kind of more to it. If they're younger, sponge balls and more visual stuff would work really well. In all honesty, sponge balls and sponge rabbits and, Papa Rabbit hits the big time and things like that. You can never go wrong with routines like that. That's something that everybody always loves, regardless of age. Double cross is another trick that would work really well, regardless of age. There's a ton of tricks that aren't too difficult that would work really well, regardless of age. Anything sponge ball, double cross, Siri-X Pro, which we reviewed recently. I think that's incredible. Hollywood, again, let's continue with the Hansen Chen theme. Rubber band stuff works really well. It very much depends on the age of the kids, to be perfectly honest. At the end of the day, you're their granddad, so you're going to be hero worshipped by them in all likelihood. So anything that you do, they're going to love. But if you can do something that's like super cool and you go above and beyond your typical grandparents, you'll be a legend. You'll be an absolute legend. So tell me the age of the kids and I'll try and be more specific for you. Okay, so the next question is by Mick. Mick says, hey Craig, I've done my first sort of gigs, not paid, but asked to entertain at 2 family weddings. Both went well and only the odd mistake that I knew of. Can I ask, did you grow as a magician? I feel the more I do events like this, the less nervous and the better my magic becomes. I still had the odd, more complex trick that I never had the bottle to perform. Did it start off like this for you in the early days? Absolutely. I mean, the thing, Mick, that you have to understand is that flight time is a real thing. And the difference between a good magician and a great magician is experience. My friend Brad Burton says experience is what you win when you lose. And what he means by that is, if you do a trick and it goes wrong, well, that's absolutely fine as long as you've learned from that. As long as you've learned, what have you learned from that trick? Well, you've probably learned you're not going to do that trick that way again. So how are you going to do it? You know, people are scared of tricks going wrong. People are scared of performing badly. But you've got to be bad in order to be good. I've never seen anybody walk on stage or do close-up magic, and they've never done it before, and absolutely go out and smash it. First of all, they're bad, and they go out and they suck. And then what happens is they get better. Flight time is such an important thing when you're performing close-up or you're performing stage or anything, or kid shows or anything. So yeah, I suppose you're right, 100%. And just continue to strive for that. Continue to do more. Continue to practice more. Continue to go out and just make it a mission to go out and perform in every environment as much as possible. It's why I advocate doing restaurants, because it's a great place to learn your craft, whilst at the same time generating a lot more work. So yeah, Mick, I'd go for it 100%. Okay, so the next question is Tom Marquette, and Tom Marquette says, best book test, easiest book test, your book test. Damn, good question. So the two books that I'm currently using in my act, because you've got to remember, I'm not a mentalist. You know, book tests tend to be in the realm of mentalism. So the two book tests that I'm doing at the moment are... So the two book tests I'm doing at the moment, I do Celebrity Prestige a lot. If anybody's got Visible, you'll know that I combine Celebrity Prestige with an invisible deck. That's the opener in my parlour show an awful lot of the time these days. So I use Celebrity Prestige to death. And the other one that I use an awful lot, because it just fits my character, it fits my personality, is Cody's Comedy Book Test. Cody's comedy book test for me is just ticks all of the boxes, because I'm a comedic performer. So I can't pull off doing very serious book tests, but I 100% can pull off Cody's comedy book test. So that's always in my case. I have a dictionary test that I like to do an awful lot. That's combined with the card routine. I actually taught that on the Beyond Stebbins project. So if anyone's got the Beyond Stebbins project, you'll know what I mean with the dictionary. Book tests that I really like, that I don't use but I've seen and really like. All About Eve, which is an Alakazam and Steve Della product, is an incredible book test. I'd highly recommend that. Obviously, the mother of all book tests is great. And although it's not a book test, Pi Revelations by David Penn has the feel of kind of a book test, because you're giving them a book. The other thing is, many, many years ago, myself and Russell Leeds brought out a project called Love Cards, which was basically 10 wallet cards. If you don't know what a wallet card is, it's basically one of these cards that you buy your loved one. And it's like, I love you on the front, and on the back, it's got a little poem. I love you more than chocolate, or whatever it may be. But Love Cards was 10 of these cards that you have in your wallet. So you take these 10 cards out and you have them shuffled. Somebody picks one at random, and then they think of a word, and you tell them what word they're thinking of. And then they think of another word, and you've predicted it beforehand. It's really clever. I think that it didn't do as well as it could have done, because the name Love Cards is rubbish. The trailer wasn't particularly great. But I think that I'm thinking about maybe speaking to somebody about re-releasing that, but instead of using Love Cards, doing it as, again, something that would fit into your wallet, but like doing it as like a synopsis of a film. Because I love the idea of that, because I used to say to people, I've still got it in my wallet now, I say to people, I've got 10 cards, there's 10 lines on each card, there's about 10 words on each line. So over these 10 cards, there's like 1,000 words. Do me a favor, take these cards, give them a mix up, pick one, boom, 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 boom. If you did it as like cinema cards, and you had like a synopsis, the cinema poster on the front, and a synopsis of the film on the back, and you kind of, I think it'd be very plausible to say, hey, have you ever seen these before? It kind of sums up films. They're downloads, you know, you can download the film or something, synopsis. We're going to try and do something with this. I think that would bring it bang up to date. And it's a great book test because it's something that you can carry around in your wallet and you can do anytime, anywhere. So maybe that's something that I'll actually do, and I'll kind of update that. I think that that would fit really well with Alakazam's wallet series, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, that's just me thinking aloud, to be perfectly honest. In answer to your question, All About Eve and The Mother of a Book Test are my two favourites. That I don't do. I do comedy book. I do Cody's comedy book test, and I the Celebrity Prestige. The other thing that I love is Pegasus test, Pegasus page, which is kind of a book test, and one of my proudest routines that I own the rights to perform, and it cost me an absolute fortune, but it's worth it because it's a killer routine, is quantum logic. Not many people have quantum logic. I have quantum logic, which uses a Pegasus page style presentation, but it's a completely different thing to a book test. If you haven't seen it, go check out just type into YouTube, Quantum Logic, Tom Stone, Penn and Teller Fool Us. Go watch that. I think there's about 20 of them, and I've got one. Yeah, I've got the rights to perform that. It's one of my favourite cabaret routines to perform, and I also do it at Frontal Cloth in an illusion show, and that has a book test section in it as well. So yeah, that's my favourite routine, probably with a book. I do that more than anything else, followed by the other two. Okay, so Bill Davis 376 says, I noticed on Instagram you've been at Alakazam for the last few days. What have you been doing? And yes, I have been at Alakazam for the last few days. I've been hanging out with Andy Smith, Peter Nardi, Harry Nardi, Buddy the dog, and myself and Nemid went over and hung around at Alakazam. And I did this Coin Magic Academy, which was great. People said really nice things about it. Really happy. I mean, you always worry when you do one of these academies, especially when it's like intermediate coin magic, because you kind of think to yourself, you kind of go, you know, you need to pitch it right. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to have it too difficult so that people switch off, but also you want to make it so it's routines that they're absolutely going to buy into as well. And I did the beginner one, and that was really well received. And so, you know, I did this next one, and I was a little bit worried. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope they enjoy it. The feedback's been great. I'm looking at the reviews now. There's been so many really great, really great comments, which is fantastic to see. There's already like 6 reviews up there, all 5 stars. So I did that. I also filmed 2.5/3 projects for Alakazam. One that's going to be coming out for Christmas. It's going to be one of their Christmas releases. It's the next in their wallet series. So if you don't know what Alakazam's wallet series is, it's genius. It's routines that go into a wallet. So Gossip was part of the wallet series, and there's a few other things. All About Eve by Steve Della is part of the wallet series. This next thing is part of the wallet series. So it's something that you can have. I'm really quite proud of this because it's like a 20-minute magic and mentalism act that you can have in your wallet using items that you would organically find in your wallet. And it allows you to do so many routines but using organic objects. I'm really excited for people to see this. I think that it's going to be a bit of a game changer for a lot of people. And it's something I've been using for a long time. And it's just killer. It's the sort of thing you could literally rock up to a show, do a 20-25 minute show out your regular wallet, with just a couple of credit card of slots worth of stuff. I mean, and you can go in different directions. You can just do 1 routine or 2 routines or 3 routines or 5 routines. And then I did another project with them. So this is kind of the follow-up to the Beyond Stebbins project. It's got nothing to do with Beyond Stebbins. We're taking a completely different thing. But if you like Visible, that I did with the 1914, and you like Beyond Stebbins, it's that sort of thing. And that's going to be, Peter loved that so much, I think it's going to be a Blackpool release. So I think that's going to be coming out the Blackpool Magic Convention. And then there was something else as well that I'm completely keeping under my hat. But yes, I have been at Alakazam. I did have an absolute blast. And they're always very, very accommodating. Myself and Nemid loved every second of it. But man, Peter Nardi works you hard. I was there literally filming on the, as I say, I left at 7 o'clock on the Tuesday. I was filming all day Tuesday. We didn't finish filming till 11 o'clock at night. I crashed for a few hours. I was back there at 8:30 the next day, filming all day until about 6 o'clock. Then I had an hour off. Then I was in the academy. It was a 3.5 hour academy till almost midnight. And then I was there again the following morning, just doing a few pickup shots. And yeah, mental, absolutely mental, but loved every second of it. Okay, so the next question is from Paul Ham J, and it's Paul, P-A-U-L, new word, H-A-M, then a capital J, no space, and that's important. Paul Ham J says, Craig, can I share my channel to try and get a leg up on starting it? It's just me helping people fine-tune old public domain stuff like the Erdnase color change I just did a video of. If no, I understand and you can delete this comment, but I have to ask. I'm more than happy to promote people's channels. I've not seen it myself. I'm looking at it right now. And there's a video there on the Erdnase color change. And I think there's a video there on the diagonal palm shift. Looks very, very interesting. So go check it out. It's Paul Ham J. And I'm going to subscribe to your channel, dude. There you go. You got a subscriber from Magic TV. Because it looks really interesting. So go subscribe to his channel. He looks really good. He's taking old moves and kind of going through how to do them properly, which is great. So yeah, of course I'll give you a shout out, man. No problem at all. Okay, so the next question is not really a question. There's a lot of variety. There's a lot of various different people. Myself and Ryland on the review show on Wednesday reviewed the Christmas Monte. And so many people have commented saying, no, the routine makes sense. It's not crazy like you said it is. It absolutely makes sense. Christmas Story, Frank Tugas says, Christmas Story takes place in the 40s and 50s. Wonderful, heartwarming film that's fun for the whole family. People look forward to it in the Christmas season. Little Ralphie ends up getting his BB gun. My slightly older friend, blah, 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 blah. We Americans are all gifted a gun on our 8th birthday. It's a very formal yet secret ceremony where the elders of our villages bless us with fast food and lack of affordable healthcare. Very much. A Christmas Story is a very well-known movie in America, and I guarantee at a corporate Christmas party with employees older than probably 30 or so, it'd be a hit. The Christmas Monte, okay, I'm wrong. You guys obviously love this. Cool. Yeah, great. Absolutely brilliant. You know what? I'm going to go watch a Christmas movie or whatever it is. I'm going to go watch it. I've never seen it. I'm going to sit down with Ryan and I'm going to watch it. And then maybe I'll even do this Christmas Monte on a Magic Live with a newfound love of the routine because I actually understand where it's coming from. So thanks for the feedback, guys. Appreciate that. And there's one final comment today from Sean Davis. And Sean Davis says, I missed registering for your Penguin school on Restaurant Magic. Are you planning on repeating it? Please let me know. Okay, so the answer is I don't know. I'm currently in the middle of it. I've done the first school and it went really well. We had almost full capacity. I think we've got 18 people and it was really nice. I love the format, really interactive. And we covered so much. In the first one, it went about an hour and 15 minutes. And a lot of it was theory-based. And I was talking about how to actually get the gig and the reason to get the gig. But then I shared a couple of unpublished routines that you can do in restaurants as well. I'm going for a 50-50 split. 50% tricks, 50% sort of marketing advice. Because on the first episode, is it an episode? The first thing, I gave people homework to do in terms of doing some research in the local area. Now we're going to base the next set of marketing advice on that. I've had some great feedback on it, so we're going to, I'm really enjoying doing it as well. Penguin have reached out. I think they want to do more of these with me, and I would love to do more of them with them. A lot of people said they wanted to do the restaurant thing, but it was too late at night for them because it's like 11 o'clock that it takes place UK time. So maybe I'll do it again. I didn't plan to do it again. And I know Penguin have got a lot of people they could do these with. I mean, Greg Wilson, Dan Harlan, you know, the list goes on and on. Nick Lacopo has done quite a few of them. Eric Tate has done quite a few of them. So we'll see. I'd love to do another one. I think Penguin want me to do another one. Whether we do the restaurant one again or not, I don't know. Maybe if there's enough interest, we will. It very much depends. But yeah, it's a super fun experience. I'm really enjoying doing them. I'm glad I said yes to Penguin because I'm having a blast, and it's a great way to teach people about restaurant magic. So there you go, guys. That is another Q&A in the bag. Thank you very much for joining me again this Sunday. If you want to see more videos like this, all you got to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I'm going to be back with 3 more videos today. At 2 o'clock, we're going to have a shorts. At 6 o'clock, we're going to have a live. And then at 9 o'clock, we're going to have a review show special on Joel Miranda's new magnet sensing pen, which is based on the Cobra Sharpie by Moz, Mazik, and Alakazam Magic. And I sit down and have a chat with Peter Nardi about the history of this, and then I perform it and I give it a full review. So Intuition is what it's called. It's going to be on the review show special tonight at 9 o'clock. And then obviously next week, Monday, I'm going to be back with one of my favourite videos of the week, which is a 5x5. So there's a lot coming up here on Magic TV. Like I say, thank you very much for joining me. Hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you